Sounds great.
Okay.
Yes. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Thilo. It feels like you've already played a lot of football for West Ham, even though you've only really just joined. Like, you made your debut less than 24 hours after you signed. Just how's it been these first few weeks, just kind of settling in and playing?
I feel like it's been kind of a kickstart directly into it, and in my opinion, it's also the best way to get to know the team, to integrate inside the club, to get to know each other and be involved straight. That's what we have discussed, and for me it felt good. The preseason hadn't been with so much games, so I didn't really had a rhythm. Getting inside, having my debut and playing straight, going straight into the games felt really good for me. I also needed a little bit of time for my body to adapt and to get really fit, and I feel like that I'm getting there.
Were there any nerves about starting so quickly?
Sorry?
Were there any nerves about starting so quickly after just joining?
Sorry, I don't...
Nerves.
Nervous? Not really. Excited is the right word, I think.
And people talk a lot about adapting and taking time to adapt to England and the Premier League. Has it been more than you thought it was, or less, or how has it been for you?
I think as I have followed the Premier League before as well, I pretty much knew that I would have to adapt, and I think that I'm still adapting. So it's kind of what I've expected, and I'm really enjoying it.
And there's been a lot of new faces in the squad this summer, including yourself. Just how long has it been in a squad that has changed so much? Has it been tough, or has it been just quite exciting to have so many new players around you as well?
I feel it's quite exciting and interesting for everybody, and I think for us to play our best game as a team, it also needs some time to find each other, to get to know each other in the best way. This are things and automatism that take a little bit of time, but we're doing it the best way possible, and we're working on it together with the coaching stuff. So I think we're on a good way.
And sorry to bring it up, but in your first game you gave away a penalty, and then there was the own goal against Tottenham. But despite that, David's been nothing but positive about you. How important is that you've got that support from your manager, that even after a few tricky starts, he still has that belief in you that you are a top player?
Yeah, obviously it's very important, because like I said, the preseason I almost had no games and no rhythm. So getting into the games felt like a cold start for me, and to feel that backup and that confidence is very important for me. So I'm trying to give it back and get more and more in shape.
And is West Ham now a club for you that people across Europe now recognise as a big club? I mean, over the past few years, what David has brought them into Europe and away from relegation, and now in Europe, is West Ham now a big name that players look at and think, I want to play for that club?
I think it's a name that gets bigger and bigger. Obviously, you see also the signings that came this summer. If you've seen the last season that the club had, and the development in general in the last few years, I think it's very positive, and it's getting more known around in Europe and in people's eyes. So I think it's everything is on a very good way, and we keep on getting up and up.
And Craig Dawson is getting back to fitness, and the FA guard is maybe a bit away, but he's coming back as well. There's a lot of competition in that backline and in defence. Is that something that you thrive on, that you enjoy, to have that competition around you?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I never knew anything different. From all the teams I've played, there was always big competition and big concurrence. So for me, it's something very positive. At the end, the manager has to take the decisions, and us as players, we need to give the best to make the decision hard as possible for the first 11. And at the end, this will only be positive for the team.
And just finally from me, you played in the Champions League, and this is the Conference League, but for you and for the rest of the squad and the players, it's still a European competition. Is that how you view it, and you want to treat it like you would any other European competition?
Yes, I believe for us it is. Many teams would be happy to play in Europe. It is just a privilege to a few teams, so we see it as that, and so for us it's very important. We want to go as far as possible.
Hi Thilo. Obviously you arrived in the summer from the French league, and a number of the other signings came from that league. Has that helped you to settle in quicker, that you know a few of the players already that you're joining with?
Yeah, I think it always helps. It always helps to know a few players before. You have some connections, also some similar changes that you can exchange about and talk about. But all in all, I felt very, very welcome from the first day from everybody. So it wasn't difficult at all to get inside this group.
And obviously in the first game in this competition last week, you got a good win to start off. How confident as a group are you that you can go and have a really good season in this competition?
I think to win the first game was important for us. We know that a good result in the group leads also to getting into the next round and taking the good feeling into the next game. So for us it is important. We want to continue with that tomorrow with a good result and hopefully be ahead of the group.
In a press conference a couple of weeks ago, your manager spoke about you already. Since you've been here already, you've shown a lot of leadership and tried to be a big figure in the dressing room. Is that something that you're used to and have a big personality and want to encourage others and help others in the group?
Yeah, I feel like it's something natural for me. I'm trying to communicate with my teammates to help in the best way possible, and as I play in the positions I play, it is something that for me is necessary to do. Everything I see and I'm not saying is for me how to say it, not doing the job that I have to do. That's how it's feeling. So I'm trying to bring that inside the team and to help the team with my qualities.
You said a moment ago that across Europe you feel that West Ham is becoming a bigger and bigger club. Was that sort of a main attraction for you wanting to join West Ham?
Yeah, obviously the club is getting bigger and it's a really interesting project. That was the biggest reason for me. The project, the team, the coaching staff, and the ideas that are here, and the values that are shown and that are taken. So that was the most important reasons for me.
In your short time at the club already, we've seen you play in a few different positions. For you personally, what's your favourite, or what do you think is the best position for your game?
Yeah, it's a question I answered a lot of times. I'm feeling comfortable playing different positions, and I always felt that way. So I don't like to say this is my favorite position or not, because at the end there's times that the team needs me to play in some position, and then I'm happy to do that. I feel that maybe my qualities best coming out the best as a central defender. Yeah.
You and a number of your teammates are hoping to be at the World Cup later this year. How, for you, has that sort of affected your preparation, or is it just one game at a time, and it's kind of a back fort for you.
Yeah, obviously it's a big goal, also for me, and I'm trying to prepare in the best way possible. And as we know that this season is pretty much more compact with the World Cup. The games there are more games during a shorter period of time, so the focus on recovery and professionalism has to be even more.
And final one from me, you've obviously played quite a few games already since your arrival. How far do you think you are off your best form?
I think there's still some room for me to have my best form, but I'm feeling better and better with every game I play, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see where it goes to.
Todd, I just got a couple about the game itself. Obviously, we played Viborg, and they were strong opposition. You would have watched some video of Silkeborg, and we know Danish football is strong. So, what do you expect from the game tomorrow?
I expect a team that tries to play like Viborg also did, trying to play a technical football. Being brave, taking risks. So we are expecting them also, because they're playing at home, to try and do that, and we go against it with our qualities.
When you're a small child, you often play on artificial surface like this. What's the main difference in the football you can play on a pitch like this as opposed to grass?
I think that the biggest difference is the speed of the ball, maybe, or when the ball is bouncing on the floor, or all the ball movement is a little bit different to normal grass. So we're trying to prepare the best possible today in training and be ready for tomorrow for that.
The first game you ever played for Germany was in 2012 when you were under 16 against Denmark. Mm-hmm. Since then, you never played against Denmark or a Danish club. So it was your first memory of playing for Germany. So special moment. 10 years ago, though.
Yeah. 10 years ago. Yeah. Time is passing fast. I've done quite a journey, I think, and being 25 now, I think I still have a few good years to go.
We hope so. Good man.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
David, just an update quick firstly on fitness of some players, Craig Dawson, Aaron Creswell, Ben Johnson. Are they all ready to
Craig
feature?
Dawson and Aaron Creswell have travelled. Ben Johnson hasn't travelled.
Okay.
So we'll have a look at them. Obviously, we have to just check out what we think for them regarding the surface, etc. But we brought them with us. They're both getting nearer to fitness. Obviously, Craig's had 6 weeks out. Cresy's only probably had 2 weeks out, really. But we just need to make sure that their injuries are okay. But they have done a bit of training.
Has that had a big influence on how you're going to pick this team in terms of the pitch and the impact it could have?
Yeah, it's given me some thoughts. Obviously we don't want to. There's things which we play. We respect that this is an artificial pitch, and we have to come here and win and play a good game on the pitch as well. But I've also got to respect that I've got one or two players who maybe the surface doesn't suit. So we have to think of that also.
But on a positive note, it's quite you're quite close now to having almost a fully fit squad, maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
Since maybe last season. That must feel quite good to finally get.
Well, if you look at the first 3 games of the season, we only had one central defender to pick from in the first 3 games of the season, which was really hard to take. You heard Thilo talking there about bringing Thilo in and again, he's right in so much what he says is he's adapting, and he's adapted quite quickly. But the truth is, I think he's got so much more to give and so much more to do. We've had Craig Dawson out, who's been out for the best part. He got injured in the Servette game when we were in Servette, so that shows you how long ago that was. And obviously we were hoping that Angelo would be really at full fitness right from the start, but not quite. But he's doing great with the way he's coming back, but he's still picking up really with it. So yeah, we're certainly getting much closer to having them all fully fit, and I'm going to need them because the games like Thursday, Sunday, this week, obviously because the situation's meant that we missed a weekend game out, which has just given us a little bit of breathing space for the next 2 games, being this one and the Everton game.
And just on Maxwel Cornet, he obviously came off, I think, with a head injury. Is he okay now?
He was fine, yeah. It was actually more, he felt it more in his neck, so it wasn't actually his head he got it. It was more, I think he landed and hurt his neck a little bit. So Maxie's been fine, he's been training. And
as you said, you've had a week to prepare for this one. How's it been? Have you enjoyed having more time? Well, with
what I've tried to do a bit more, more than recent, is try to give the players a bit more time to themselves and a bit more time off. I think also because we're trying to integrate a lot of new players who are maybe needing a day to get home and get some clothes or bring their family back over or their dogs or whatever it may be. So there's bits of all that got to take place in the middle of trying to prepare the team as well.
Is that what people maybe don't always appreciate, is that when you have so many new players, they have a lot of things to do other than play football?
Yeah. Well, they have families, and they have their families either to see or to meet. As you all know, if you get up and somebody takes you away from your home right away, it takes you a bit of time maybe to carry out a lot of other things, like you checking that everything's fine at the home, are your bills all paid, or are you renting, can you give your rent up? So there's a lot of other things that come into it. Fortunate we've got a really good player care team which look after the players here, and most of that is done, but you still need a little bit of time to prepare.
And we didn't speak after the previous European game. What did you make of that performance? It was quite a different first half, second half.
Yeah, it was. We didn't really enjoy how we were in the first half at all. We picked up, but we watched it back, and we missed a lot of chances in the first half, which could have made it all look a lot different. We lose a goal run about 30th minute, I think it was, and it looks as if maybe we weren't as good as we thought. But watching it back, we'd actually played some good stuff and made some chances. We just didn't take them. But on the second half, we changed it up. And I think it's what we've got now. We've probably got a stronger group of players, and as you're talking about the squad being in, I've probably got a bigger choice now than I've probably had. But also partly because we didn't have a game at the weekend means that I could quite easily play any one of the players tomorrow night.
Yeah, you made a trio of subs at half-time. Is that perhaps a message to the squad that you do have a big squad now, and if they aren't performing, you will just take them out and you can replace them with someone on the bench?
Well, sometimes getting it right, sometimes you can do that and you can get it equally as wrong, but we felt that what we'd done, we weren't quite getting there. We needed to up the ante again and go again. And look, we're going to do it a lot more now with the chance to play 5 subs. Having 12 players on the bench, it gives you a big chance to make a lot of changes as well. And I think, certainly these games at the moment, we'd like to give players who we want opportunities to play, but we're also in the process of trying to find a bit of our own form and use the word rhythm, get into the rhythm and try and be playing in a good fashion. So all that comes into your thinking on how you're trying to get a win, but obviously give people minutes as well.
And if anything, did last week show that this competition can still throw a banana skin? If you're not at that level, you still can get beat by these teams.
Oh, undoubtedly. If you actually look through, if you wanted to go through all the results from the competition last week, I think there was only Basel beat one team 3-1, we won 3-1. There wasn't another game which was won by more than 1-0, 0-0, 2-1, 1-1. The games were incredibly tight. So I think, I said it last year when I went to Europe, and it's okay when you look back and you say, yeah, you done that quite simply, but all the games for us had a real level of difficulty. Now, we took some risks last year, and strange enough, we will have to continue probably at different times taking some risks in the competition to see if we can do it because of the level of the Premier League and what's required at the weekend. But we learnt a lot from last year, and we learnt a lot that if you're not correct, then you'll easily get turned over by the other teams.
And just again on this pitch, I don't know if last season you played on a plastic pitch in the Europa League. I'm not sure, but just as a coach, how tough is it? Do you have to almost tell your team to play in a different way, or to be a bit more careful in tackles, or?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I as a player, played in a plastic pitch for about 3 years, so I've got a good idea on how you can play, and there's different ways and different philosophies and how it should be done and ways you look at it. But I have to say, I think in modern football nowadays, I don't see the top level players really wanting to play in AstroTurf on pitches. I totally respect it, because I think for young players, for development, for younger age groups, with the weather conditions which we have, and I'm from Scotland, so I know very well how much AstroTurf pitches are so important. But I actually think when you get to top level football, I think that we're used to natural, and this will be different for us, and we have to take this into consideration.
Thank you.
David, obviously you were here 3 weeks ago for the Viborg game. Do you think that's really helped, the fact that you saw them and you're playing another Danish team in quick succession?
I think all it's done is we're familiar with the surrounds, because we're staying close by to where we are just now, so that's made it a little bit easy. In truth, the travel to here has been very easy from London, a short flight, so all those things play a part, and you hope that you get good draws as far as travel goes as well. Last year we had games which mainly kicked off at 6 o'clock. Now we've got games that kick off at 8 o'clock, which is not good for us, because it means our travel's affected differently, our return times are different. So, but I think if you're going to be a European team, you have to start getting used to it, and we have to start finding out more about how we handle it. Last year I talked about learning more, dealing with the referees, how we handle that, the different styles of play. And as what you alluded to earlier was the different styles. I actually think that Silkeborg play a really good style of football, and I've got to say I thought Viborg did as well. So there's different ways to go about it. We'll maybe come up against teams in different countries who play differently, but that's why you want to be in Europe, because you're coming up against different situations.
You mentioned the difference for 6 o'clock and an 8 o'clock can have. Is there a certain reason for that, why those games get decided, or is it just luck of the draw?
Well, I think this year, with Manchester United being in the Europa League and it being a Thursday night game in the Conference League, I think we would probably be seen as we'll play second to that. Last year, I think all of the media, all of the television broadcasters were really keen to see how West Ham do in their first year back in Europe, and we got a lot of the earlier kick-off times, which meant it much easier to travel straight back after the game. These affect it a bit more for us, and obviously the bigger thing, as you'll know, in the bigger picture, is trying to make sure that it doesn't have a big effect on your fixture on Sunday.
You complimented their style of play a minute ago, but what have you seen from Silkeborg, and what are you expecting?
Yeah, Silkeborg are a really good passing team. I've actually seen it in a lot of Danish football at the moment, I have to say. I think Denmark is showing lots of traits very similar to maybe Holland as well in how they play. I think that the teams are all, Thilo said it, they're technically trying to do the right things. They're trying to play in a good fashion. So we know that's what we're up against. The Premier League is at a huge technical level. It's also a very high level of tactical situations, but obviously the Premier League is so tight, where you might not get the chance to play so easily from the back, and it doesn't maybe matter if you can see the goal. It's really, really different, but it'll be interesting, and I think Silkeborg being on their home pitch will be a test for us.
And just a quick bit of housekeeping, Tomas Soucek, how is he?
Thomas is okay. He's had a kick in the foot. Thomas hasn't trained for most of the week, and he would have been, if the game against Newcastle was to be played, Thomas would have been a doubt because of an injury he had to his foot. But Tomas Soucek has been back training now, so should be okay.
Obviously you get the training session on the pitch in a minute. Will that give you a good idea as to what to kind of expect tomorrow night?
It won't give me an idea of what to expect. It'll give me an idea. It'll give the players an idea of maybe how they see the ball rolling. You know, we talked about the bounce of the ball. You know, the speed of the ball. Those things are for us. I mean, like, I don't think there'll be any Premier League teams would ever train on an AstroTurf pitch at all now. You know, the only time you would do that if the snow was down and maybe you were in the indoor arenas. And even now, most of the football clubs have got undersoil heated pitches and facilities to allow them to train outdoors. So, something we have to work with and do the best we can.
Obviously, with this competition, there's such an importance of securing top spot in your group to bypass that sort of extra knockout round. How important is that for you, for a group of players, not only to try and get through, but to try and win the group as well?
At this moment in time, it doesn't sound as important, but you know what it's like when it gets into January. You know, qualifying would be fantastic. You know, and last year we got out the blocks really, really fast last year, and we got the results in, and we done it. You know, but maybe we just ran out a bit of steam getting to the semi-final, etc. I hope this year we can maybe build up. Might not be quite as fast out the blocks, but do enough to get through, then get into the rounds where we're starting to really get into form. So, and again, that's a little bit with the mindset of new players, how we're getting them in, trying to get them all bits of time, trying to fit them into the right positions.
Do you think the squad that you've assembled will allow you to do that, and you know, be more prepared for sort of later in the season when those games do really build up?
I think we've got a good squad of players. I think we've got and I've got to say, we've got really good characters, which is so important. Like Thilo, for example, and I think they feel it as well, which is good. So what we have to do is show it by our results. There's been signs, you know, we played well against Tottenham, we won at Villa, we were unlucky at Chelsea, we've won in midweek. So there's just showing some signs that we're just beginning to get back to a little bit of it. But in truth, we're still got a way to go, and we're, you know, every day when I look at training now, I can see, I'm saying, well, who's he, what's he, who's this one, who's that one, because we've got 8 or 9 new players every day in a group of maybe 18 or 20 players, and because of that in itself is a big change.
A final one from me. Yesterday in a conference, Chelsea owner Todd Boehly suggested about a potential all-star match at the end of the season. There's been a lot of sort of talk about it. What's your opinion on that?
I just don't know where there's any more room for any more games in football. We play the Charity Shield at the start of the season, which we use that as our Charity Shield game, which is normally the game which, you know, I believe would give the money to charity. Would I be right in saying that? Yeah, all goes to charity. So, you know, for us to have things like North-South divide at the moment, I don't think we need that. I think what we're trying to do is make sure our country's as one. And at the moment we're trying to build better roads, better rail lines between the north and the south. Never mind putting 2 teams out against each other.
Just 2 from me, boss. You've spoken to us regularly about how when you were a young coach you took on new experiences and visited different countries. Did you ever come to Denmark when you were a young coach? No,
but I've got a friend here from Iceland. I used to go to Iceland every year, and so I'm very aware of I'm going to call it this part of the world. But I've been to Copenhagen. I used to go regular to watch games in Copenhagen. I always enjoyed a beer in Copenhagen. It was always very nice. But so I've really enjoyed it. I've got to say, we were here a few weeks ago, and I've got to say this is a lovely part of the world where we are just now, and feels really peaceful, and it looks a really nice place to live.
Just on a slightly different topic, the game last week, we didn't speak to you afterwards, but I think the general consensus is that in really challenging circumstances, just a few minutes really after the death of the Queen was announced, the club, its supporters really did themselves a great credit with the way they conducted themselves on the night.
Well, I thought it was a really difficult night, and it probably showed that a little bit in, you know, because the atmosphere was subdued, exactly probably how we all wanted it and expected. The club done a brilliant job in getting things correct and doing everything at the last minute. So, you know, it shows a lot. But look, West Ham's a very British club, you know, and because of that, we supported our Queen, and I thought they'd done a really good job.